many of them are common, I believe, for lots of sectors. But yes, I'm going to concentrate on the ones that are around construction. And the way we will increase productivity in construction is the use of the new digital technologies and a greater move to off-site manufacturing techniques. That's the key to doing that. And in order to make that paradigm shift, when I was in Denmark 40 years ago, their tutors knew how to train people on this. As we sit here today, ours don't. So we've got to get the skills up in the country, and that will start with actually the training providers. So we've set out in the report 9 recommendations for employers, 8 for government and 7 for training providers. And I'm not going to go through all of those because we haven't got time, but I'm just going to pull out a couple of themes. In terms of employers, some of them are investing in the new technologies and off-site manufacturing, but nowhere near enough. And at the moment, we don't. They quite rightly say, as do the German manufacturers that don't want to come in, we haven't got the business case right. So I'll come back to that in a moment. But we've got to invest, and the industry has got to restructure its workforce. We need a greater proportion of people that are employed directly, and to move away from the old model of heavy reliance on subcontracting. And we as a sector have got to sort out our career pathways for how people progress through our sector. It's a mess, to put it bluntly, and we don't focus enough on what's happening abroad and what can we learn from those. In terms of government, so there's a lot more, but I'll leave you with that. And I wouldn't say what I've got to say is new in terms of the employers. The Construction Leadership Council, which leads our sector, fully understands the need. It's how do we make progress? And I think one of the ways we need to make that business case is government. Government is a massive buyer of construction. Yeah? If it buys it in a certain way, then it will create the business case for digital technologies and for off-site manufacturing. So it's got a big role to play. The other thing it's got to do is a role on skills. And I'll build you our skills system, which I've been living with for many years now, is not agile. And the big thing that you could hear everywhere in the WorldSkills conference was, your system's got to be agile. You've got to be able to change with the technology quickly. And I'll give you a little example, a little vinaigrette. Hong Kong, 150 job types in their construction industry. Ours is about 200. Yeah, they were able to change their curriculum to introduce new technologies within 12 months. Now, I've asked some people, how long do we think we could do it in our system, and nobody's got a clue. And it's probably nearer 12 years than it is 12 months. We're just not quick enough. We're not agile enough. And unfortunately, as some of you may have seen from the tweets, we've missed the opportunity on T-levels. T-levels are not going to prepare us for the skills that we need for 2012. We need to rethink the structure and curriculum of T-levels. And my last ones are around training providers. And I think there are 3 things I want to pull out around training providers. One is we've got to invest. We must invest in the equipment in the colleges. We must invest in training the tutors. We must invest in training the assessors, because they are the chicken, and without them we will not get the little eggs of the new people in our economy. Absolutely essential that we do that. And we've been cutting back investment for 10 years. We've got to turn that around completely. We also need to bring in proper structured CPD, so the tutors are up to date, because the technology is changing every 3, 4, 5 months. They need to be kept up to date. And the other thing that we need to do in England, not in Wales, sorry, I'm not from Brummie, I'm from Cardiff. You might hear that occasionally in the words, so I'm not too far away. In Wales, WorldSkills learning is fed back down to the colleges. In England, it is not. And I'm also the president of BAC, which is the British Association of Construction Heads for FE colleges. And we want to take a lead in terms of trying to get that learning back down through the colleges, instead of it being locked in a few heads. in the training managers, and they're frustrated. They want to get the message back. So I think there's a lot we can learn from looking at what other people do. And the great benefit of getting involved in WorldSkills and competitions is you start to see what happens abroad. You start to learn and you start to bring those lessons back. So I hope, as does Neil, that this report becomes a template for other sectors and that we start to learn the lessons of taking the knowledge from what we find out abroad and the standards and bringing them back in the UK to help us improve our economy and our sectors. Thank you very much.